St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome back to Rat Pack Fantasy Football. Alrighty, today we are here with NFL Week 4 game previews. Today we've got the NFC home games because we are starting with Packers and Lions on Thursday Night Football. Off to a great start as Jesse apparently has frozen. Either that or he's really good at staying still. Oh, no, there he is. He's back. Can you hear me, Jesse? All right, let's see if I can remove him and if he can get back in there himself. We'll give Jesse 1 second as I load up my graphics. Let's see. Is he back? Add to stage. What is going on with Jesse today? He left. All right. We are going to kick things off with... Oh, there's Jesse coming back. I don't know if that was you or me.
So, like, the intro I was watching, it, like, went away. Partially when it was on.
You been having any issues lately? It might be me. I've been having internet issues all week, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to talk to Comcast. This keeps happening, so I got to figure something out. But yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. It happens. All right. Gives me time. Actually, I didn't have my graphic loaded up on the side, so gives me time. We will, as I said, NFC home games because Thursday Night Football is Packers Lions. I got Jesse with me today. All right, Jesse. I guess let's get right into it. If I can find the thing now. First off, we start with Lions at Packers. The Lions are 2.5-point favorites on the road against Green Bay, which scares the shit out of me because I grew up a Lions fan, and anytime the Lions are favored, they disappoint, as evidenced by week 2 at Seattle or at home to Seattle.
Yep.
That
was a fun game.
All right. Got some interesting players here. I'm trying to load up my other freaking graphic, but because I think it might be my internet on the other side here that's causing us issues because I'm not getting anything to load particularly fast. So it might be me. Sorry. Clicking off here. All right. So we have the quarterback situation. I think you're probably not starting either in single quarterback of Jordan Love or the Jared Goff, but I think you're starting both pretty confidently in Superflex. If you had to pick one of the two QBs in this, who do you like better, Goff or Love?
So Love's living off some serious touchdown. Like, it's very positive in his direction. So
yes, he
they're just not throwing as much as the Detroit, and they're just not patching them in the yards. So, like, realistically, I get it. Detroit's defense has been boom or bust, but, like, I'm more confident in Jared Goff until I consistently see it with Green Bay. The interesting thing though is like he could have both Watson and Jones back this week. I know it's kind of up in the air. I'm not sure, but like if they're both playing, like that's just 2 more weapons for him.
Looks
so,
like
they're
Watson's
pretty close.
Back. Let me check. I don't know if I have an update. That's a good question. I put him into a whole bunch of my lineups, and I got to go back to work after this. So I sure hope Jones is playing. I completely forgot. The way he looked all week in practice, I was under the assumption he's still listed as questionable. Trending towards playing, but maybe on a snap count. So maybe I should get him out of my lineup there. I never even thought of that. It looks like Watson is going to play, though, from everything I heard. I guess we'll get into that then for the running backs. We've got, Jahmyr Gibbs. We've got no other Lions back that I want. And basically, I want Aaron Jones and nobody else. If he's not playing, they've all been useless. It was Patrick Taylor who outplayed A.J. Dillon. Are you playing? Yeah, I think you're playing both of them. A.J. Dillon, it's the 18th best matchup, so middle of the pack. Jahmyr Gibbs, it's top 12. I don't think the matchup really sways me either way. Although I honestly, it says it's a better matchup for Jones fantasy-wise, but on the field itself, the Lions have been pretty tough on defense. I think if I have either of them, I'm starting both of them as an RB2. Obviously, Jones kind of scares me. He could be more of a flex, but I think if Jones plays, I'm starting him. How about you?
Yeah, if Jones, the thing with the Packers situation is I don't want to play Dillon at all. So like even if Jones is out, I'm gonna find ways to get him out of my lineup. I just don't trust Dillon at all. And we saw how last week went for him. But yeah, Jones is good. He's been a good running back for forever. Like he was super efficient last year. So yeah, I'll ride with Jones even on a snap count. He's just too good of a running back. And the dead zone that is running backs right now, there's not many good ones. So like those are the two running backs this matchup I'm gonna play.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking ugly. On the wide receiver side of the ball, Amon-Ra St. Brown's obviously a must start. It's a bad matchup against that secondary. Don't care, still playing him. Probably not playing Josh Reynolds or Khalif Raymond or whoever the hell else they're rolling out there. It's a bottom to low end to medium matchup for the Packers. Watson, if he plays, I'm not starting in his first game back. If he doesn't play, I'm firing up Dobbs or Jaden Reed. If Watson plays, I don't think I'm starting any of them. I want to see Watson come back first, and it scares me for Dobbs and Reed. So, like I said, I think I'm starting A.J. Brown. I'm starting Amon-Ra St. Brown regardless. If Watson doesn't play, I'm comfortable with either of the Packers receivers. If Watson does play, I'm probably benching all three unless I have to flex them. What are your thoughts there more specifically on the Packers trio there? They're the ones that are a little more interesting.
Yeah. So if Watson plays, I'm going to throw him in the lineups. It seemed like they purposely held him out last week so they can play him in this game to give him a few extra more games. Because I guess he could have played if he wanted to, but they just held him out. So I feel like they're confident enough to like throw him out there and give him like the normal amount of snaps he will have because the offense really needs another playmaker. Like those guys are young and promising, but they still have question marks. If he plays, I'm going to bench Jaden Reed. I just don't think he's going to see as many snaps. So like I would bench Reed over Dobbs in the situation. If he doesn't play, then I'll fire up Dobbs as like a wide receiver 2. Reed will be like a flex for me.
I think you're probably right. Like, I know he's younger, so it probably doesn't apply. I think I've just been burned too many times by the old Adam Thielen. He's healthy this week. Oh, wait, he was just a fucking decoy. Like, yeah. I've been burned by that. And I get it. When it happens with Adam Thielen or D-Hop or Keenan Allen, it's an older receiver. So you would think if he's younger, if he's out there, he's probably a full go, but it still scares me.
Yeah, I guess that's what you're looking for.
Breeze through it. Tight end, Luke Musgrave has the best matchup. I'm probably firing him up as a low-end tight end 1. It's top 12 for Laporta. He's must start at this point. So I think we have a must start and a probably start, unless, like, if you got Musgrave with a Kelsey, obviously you're not, but I think they're both good starts. At kicker, it is a middle-of-the-pack matchup for Riley Patterson, so if you got him, play him. It's not one way or the other. Anders Carlson for the Packers, it's a bad matchup. I don't imagine you own him anyways. So I would say both kickers can probably be avoided unless you're in a deep 2-kicker league. Probably avoid them both. Because there's a lot of 2-kicker leagues around here.
Exactly. Right,
actually, yeah. I do think I have one where you can play 2 kickers. Well, in SFB on MFL, you can play fucking like 8 kickers as a flex. Yeah. But aside from SFB, the defenses, I don't think I'm playing either. It's not a terrible matchup. It's not a great matchup for either. I think both defenses have their strengths and weaknesses, and both offenses can score. So I think what I'm saying here is start both tight ends, bench both kickers, get rid of or bench both defenses if you can. I don't think I necessarily have to avoid either, but I think I would. Any major points of contention or disagreement with that one?
No, I'm right there with you. Like I'm firing up these tight ends just because the tight ends are just awful. So like Musgrave was so cheap, he's the one that's like maybe like you're talking about Kelsey, but like the rest of them, yeah. The defenses, sure, you can play them if you want to, if you need to, because the Lions have a really good pass rush. So like that's like kind of their thing. But yeah, I'm gonna look other ways in this defense. Let me see.
I absolutely hate this new software because sure enough, the one game that is listed as my next on the agenda here is the one that I can't find because there we go. I had to reopen it because for some reason, instead of just showing the 8-game previews that I brought up, it's showing me every single thing on the screen. So anyways, our next game we have is Vikings at Panthers. Vikings by 4.5, which is a confusing one. Like I get it. The Vikings can score. Vikings are terrible. I think I wrote this in my Survivor Pool column. They are a team I'm avoiding at all costs in the Survivor Pool because no matter how bad the other team is, their defense is bad enough that they can always get beat. On paper, they should easily outscore a rookie-led Panthers team, but I do not feel safely enough about it that I would want to take them. So this is a, 4.5 point spread. I don't know if I feel that comfortable about it, but I'll start with the quarterbacks. It's a great matchup with Bryce Young. If you got to start him, like obviously Superflex, probably start him. Great matchup. He should score just based on how shitty the defense is. Single QB, he's obviously not in consideration. 4 single QB, Kirk Cousins. It's a bottom 5 matchup. I don't care. You're starting Kirk Cousins everywhere unless you have a legit top 5 option that's better than him. And even then, I don't know. Like looking, Tua has a worse matchup, so I don't know if I'd start Tua. I'm starting Mahomes in not a great matchup. Josh Allen, I probably got to start in, and like aside from the top of the top, I think Kirk Cousins is as good as he gets. So agree there. Start Cousins. You know, what's his name? I forgot what's his name. Bryce Young. That's how good he's been as a rookie. What's his name? He's a super flex option. That's about it for you.
Yeah, I would have more confidence in Andy Dalton in this matchup, just because the matchups. It's like a superb matchup. So like I would be all for banging the table for Dalton, but it's just Bryce Young's looks bad. So like you can flex him or not. Sorry, you can stream him, but I don't have a ton of confidence, even though the Vikings have like the worst pass defense on demand.
Bryce Young has been a full practice all week with the ankle injury, so it looks like he's set to go. So I don't think we're going to get that option, but I definitely think, like you said, he's a QB2 option. It's a good matchup, so you would think it's kind of like one of the other games we're going to get to where it's Denver, Chicago. I hate all these options, but it's a case of you got to play them because I think I said in I forget what article I wrote, but it's do or die time for these two teams. Anyone, DJ Moore, Justin Fields, if they can't score against the Bears, I'm done with them. And conversely, if Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, these guys can't come through against on the other side of the ball, I'm done. Anyone who doesn't produce in this option, I'm just out on. If you can't score on the Bears and you can't score on the Broncos, you are out. So we'll continue with this one. Sorry to get off track there. The running backs we've got Madison and Miles Sanders. I feel good with both of them as mid-range RB2s. Madison, it's a top 3 matchup. Sanders, it's bottom 10, but I think they're both solid RB2. Madison scares me a bit because I don't know what Cam Akers is going to do, but I think they're still both RB2s. You?
Yeah, I think 100% you're right. That's like the whole just elephant in the room is Cam Akers and how much usage he's going to see because it's another week. They're going to play him this week. Like he's going to get involved. So, like, he could just cut into what's been such a good role for Madison because he's been, like, top 10 in the expected points. But, yeah, like, I'm going to play both running backs. Like, I like the matchup for both. And, like, Sanders is going to see work. We saw it with Dalton. Like, he was heavily targeted and all that. So, he's still going to see work. And he should be fine. It's just, like, I just don't ever see a ceiling with Sanders. Same thing with Madison. Like, this is just good volume plays. So, like, if you need him, yeah, just throw him in there. I think you'll be fine with those guys.
At wide receiver, we have 2 must starts. You're starting Jefferson as a 1. You're starting Addison probably as a 2. On the Panthers side of the ball, I think you're starting Adam Thielen as a 2 with upside potential. He's wide receiver 9 on the season. Jonathan Mingo in this matchup, Mingo hasn't been good. He's been getting some targets. It's a top 3 matchup, like I said. I think you're going to start Mingo if you have him as a flex option, wide receiver 3, and just hope this is finally his breakout game. But I think there's 3 must starts, and I'll probably start here. How about you?
Yeah, the one thing with Mingo is he's still dealing with that injury. I think he's listed as limited. But, like, I'm kind of watching that situation. If I need to, I can just pivot to Chark if he's not going to play, and I think Chark would be fine in the situation.
Yes, you are.
So, like, one of those 2 guys, like, I'll flex with. Whoever doesn't play.
That. You're right. Yeah, he didn't take part Wednesday.
So, like, I
retract that statement, and I pushed that over to DJ Chark. I think, actually, I kind of think it works out better because if Mingo, it looks like Mingo's going to be out from what I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. I forgot the concussion. That's my bad. So I think we have 4 who are must starts because now I think I like DJ Chark without Mingo more than I liked Mingo. So I'm probably starting all 4 of these receivers.
Yeah, and you could take a flyer on like what's his name? Freaking Marshall if you wanted to, because he saw 8 targets last game. So like he'll probably be decently involved. Or if you want to take a flyer on freaking Osborne, like you could do that too.
Tight ends, it's a top 10 matchup for Hawkinson. You're starting him regardless. Hurst, it's a top 13 matchup. You're probably starting him. If you got him, I know he's been hit and miss, but it's pretty dicey out here, so you exploit the matchup. Kickers, low end for Pinheiro, and where is Greg Joseph? It's top 6, so I would say start the Vikings. Joseph, bench Pinheiro, who I think had the lowest start percentage of any kicker when I did my research. He's the only one who doesn't have a listed Stardusty fantasy point at kicker, which means he either hasn't scored or he's the only one who just has never been started in a Yahoo league. So, so bench him. The defenses, I want no part of this. This one is probably a shootout. I don't think I want any part of any defense in a game with the Vikings or Chargers or Bears. This is one of these games where it's just going to be high scoring. So bench both defenses. Bench Pinheiro, play Joseph if you got him. The tight ends, you're obviously playing Hawkinson. You're probably playing Hurst. You likely, if you got him, you can flex him flex him. You can put him in as your tight end, depending on your option, but he's worthwhile option there. Any thoughts, Jesse?
Exactly with you on all that stuff. It's just there's a ton of points in this game. Like these defenses suck and they're not good. So you want all the even like Hurst, he's boom bust, right? So like you just hope the matchup works out in his favor this week. So that's kind of what you're rolling the dice with. But yeah, we'll be on all the rest of it.
Defenses do suck. And to a game, the exact opposite that I have listed as one of the tighter games. We have the Bucks at Saints. Saints by 3.5. I'm a Saints fan. I don't like that. I don't think it's a 3.5 point spread. I think this one's a lot closer. These games between these two are always freaking tight. I don't like it, and I'm not confident in the Saints' ability to win this one at all. So we'll start off with the quarterbacks. I have Derek Carr listed. It's not going to be Derek Carr. Oh, Jameson. Oh, sorry. This is not the pecking order. I forgot. I do these by last week's point total. So it's going to be Jameis Winston. If you have Winston in a super flex against the Tampa defense, that is, I would imagine it's a great matchup. Let me look. It's where the hell is it? I'm trying to. Oh no, it's listed as a bad matchup. That's weird. I don't know why. I feel like that Tampa's a bad matchup, despite the fact that the fantasy points haven't necessarily been there. I guess you could probably throw in Winston for the same reason we were starting Dalton in a super flex. He's just going to throw up YOLO balls. Baker, I want no part of against this defense. What are your thoughts here? Bench Baker unless you have to, and maybe you can play Winston as a low-end QB2?
Yeah, we kind of saw like the awards with Baker last week where he'll YOLO it to like Mike Evans and it like leads to some turnovers. So that's kind of the issue. And the Saints just have a better pass defense. Like that's the thing. So yeah, I'd rather play Jameis than play Baker in this matchup. Like that's the guy I'm going to lean on, and then I'll bench Baker at the two of those guys. Like, yeah.
Running back side of the ball. Oh, sorry. Were you done?
No, you're good. Good.
Okay, so running back side of the ball, I don't think I want either part of this. The Saints are the second worst defense for running backs. The Bucks are a bottom 10. Sorry, I have that backwards. But either way, they're bad, but they're both bottom 10 defenses to face. Kamara, I want no part of. He has the second worst, and in his first game back, I think they might ease him in. We've seen everybody else back there kind of sucks. Jamal Williams is on IR. Kendra Miller wasn't any good. Rashad White, don't want to face this defense. Like I said, he's been hit and miss. I just don't think he's good enough to overcome this defense. So I want no better than a flex for either of these guys. How do you feel? Who you hire on, White or Kamara? White, I assume?
Yeah, like White, no, we know he's getting the volume at least. But yeah, I just know he's not good. Like that's my issue with White, and it's been my issue with White. He just has not been a good running back his time in the league. Where we know Kamara, like if his role goes back to what it was, I'll love that. I just kind of want to see it. So unless you're forced into playing one of these guys, like I'll throw a dart on Kamara. But realistically, I just want no part of both these running backs in this game.
The only players I am starting are the receivers. Olave, it's a bad matchup. Don't care. Starting him anyways. I'm starting I'm starting Evans. Actually, we should stay there. So the obvious must starts, I think, are Olave and Evans. Mm-hmm. Then in the can start range, I would say we have Godwin, Michael Thomas, Raheed Shaheed. So what do you think about those three? Godwin, Thomas, Shaheed in that order? So all that's threes or flexes or twos or flexes?
Yeah, I'll put Thomas ahead of Godwin. I expect his usage to come on, but it just hasn't been great so far this year. Where Thomas has seen more targets and stuff like that. So like I'll go Thomas. So like it'll be like Olave and Mike Evans are must starts. Like just lock those guys in. Yeah. Then it's Michael Thomas, then Godwin, and then Shaheed. Like I don't trust any wide receiver on the Bucks. On the Bucks.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. The top two are must starts. After that, they're probably wide receiver 2, 3 flex range. But I can start all three, and I'm sure I do have a league where I've started. Actually, I think I have a lot of Michael Thomas. He's been consistent, but not great. It's been a lot of 12, 11, 12, shit like that. Godwin has been worse, so you're probably right. I would take Thomas over him. Tight end, Juwan Johnson, it's a bad matchup. He's been bad, so I want to avoid him. K-Dot, it's an even worse matchup. He has not produced, but he's getting the looks. K-Dot for me is a stash, but I'd probably like to avoid him for this week. On the kicker side of the ball, Blake Group has been bad. This is a bad matchup. We're going to sit him. McLaughlin, it's a good matchup. It's fourth best. The Saints have given up a lot of field goals because they limit teams on the touchdown end. So he's probably a start for me. The DSTs, I have no problem really firing up a DST here. The Saints are listed as my worst matchup this week. Yeah, worst matchup. Sorry. I don't care. I think I want to start them. I don't have any faith in Tampa. They've had some pretty cakewalk matchups. That's why they've been so good. So I feel good firing up both these Ds. The defense or the run defenses, I'm confident in. Both pass defenses scare me a little. The Bucks scare me a little bit more. So to summarize, I guess you could start both defenses as probably low-end top 12 matchups. Start McLaughlin, bench group, and bench both tight ends. What do you think?
That's exactly right. Like we know Baker and Jameis are prone to throwing interceptions. So you can play both defenses in this matchup.
This doesn't seem like it's got high scoring shootout written out. Like this seems like it's going to be at 16-13. What was it? 17-16 last week for the Saints. That sounds about right this week. So
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I'll target it.
So like I said, I don't love either of them because both pass defenses scare me a little. So in the end, they could give up some points, but neither quarterback strikes that much confidence for me. Next, we've got Commanders at Eagles. Eagles by 8. This one probably shouldn't even be that close. We went from last week where it was a ton of blowout predictions to a lot of close games. I think we had the in my survivor pool, the Eagles were like third on my list of biggest favorites, and they're only 8-point favorites, which last week we had like 6 10-point favorites. So Sam Howell, you're not starting Sam Howell in single QB. I don't think he's a terrible option in Superflex. I know he looked like shit last week throwing 4 interceptions, but you're going to have that from him. He makes a lot of great throws, and then he forces it and throws some interceptions. So there's going to be some growing pains. He's someone, like I said, I'm not starting him unless it's Superflex, but he's someone I'd like to hold on to for the future. Jalen Hurts is obviously a fire him up as a top 5. What do you think here about Howell? You think
I'm nervous. I'm extremely nervous. They're I think they've given up the top 5 most points to quarterbacks to the Eagles defense. But man, this is similar to the Buffalo last week where it could just get unloaded on him, where it just snowballs and it's a disaster performance. Because they're just generate pressure nonstop on teams. So I really don't want to play Sam Howell. I get it, the matchup seems juicy, but I don't want to risk it with him. So I would lean other positions.
I forget the exact number, but I was looking. Someone tweeted it. Sam Howell has been sacked more times than the guys who have been sacked 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th put together. That's how much he's been sacked. So heaven forbid, maybe Sam Howell hasn't been great in what is essentially his rookie year, getting sacked 9 times per game. But
and now you get the Eagles coming to town. Yeah, it doesn't sound promising.
We'll move on to the running backs. I don't think I want to start any Commander. It's the worst matchup for running backs. They're allowing 8 points per game to all the opposing running backs combined. So not just 8 to Robinson. You're talking all of them. So Robinson, I don't want any part of. I think we were pretty much all out on Gibson at this point. So he's out anyways. The Eagles, it's a middle-of-the-pack matchup. I think at this point, Swift is a must-start as a high-end 2. Gainwell, I've dropped Gainwell in a couple of leagues where I was really needy. I think he looked like he was going to be the guy, and he may have lost his shot. So I think in this one, you start Swift as a RB high-end 2, and you bench everyone else.
Yeah, Gainwell saw a good amount of usage last week. He just wasn't doing what Swift was doing because Swift's just a much better player, right? So I'll stash Gainwell in case an injury happens because we saw how they use him. But yeah, I'm not going to play him. It's Swift. I don't want Robinson. The interesting thing is this is the one game that wouldn't shock me if Gibson takes a swing pass and goes house with it, and everyone hypes back on the Gibson train just from one train. But no thanks. I don't want a Washington running back this game.
So I think we have 4. Well, I don't know if they're must-start receivers in this one. How do you rank AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin, and Jahan Dotson? I'm assuming the 2 Eagles are first.
Yep. Yeah, so it's AJB, Devonta Smith. It's they're really close in rankings, and their rest of season have them very close. The Commanders are a few steps down. So Dotson's just not doing anything. At least McLaren's seeing the volume. Dotson's just you could talk about dropping him just because it's been that bad. So I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't want to play Dotson. I guess you could force yourself into flexing McLaurin as a wide receiver 3, just because he's gonna see volume. But it's not great. It's just I don't trust Howell. That's the problem.
The two Eagles are probably wide receiver 1s. McLaurin, mid-range wide receiver 2. And like you said, Dotson probably a flex at best. I wouldn't drop him yet. I'm not convinced that he's completely unusable, but I wouldn't drop him. Tight ends, I expect it to be Cole Turner again, but whether it's Turner or Logan Thomas, it's a great matchup. The Eagles stop everything. Apparently, what they leave open is tight ends. I think you've got a desperation play there if you need it. Dallas Goedert, it's a bottom 6 matchup. I don't really care. If you've got Goddard, you're probably playing him unless you have better options. So I think both sides can start a tight end. It's a top 3 matchup for Jake Elliott on the Eagles, so he's a must start. It's the worst matchup for kicker for Joey Sly. The Eagles allow 2 points per game against a kicker. So start Elliott, bench Sly. The DST, the Commanders are the best matchup, so the Eagles are pretty much a must start anyways, but you're starting them this week. They are probably going to be my DST 1. Commanders, it's a bottom 10 matchup. You're sitting them. So must start Eagles, must sit Commanders. Same at kicker, must start Elliott, must bench Sly. Tight ends are probably not must starts, but they're probably startable. Goddard with a little bit higher ceiling and floor than the Commanders' options.
Yeah, that's kind of like what it is with the Eagles. Like, you basically want to play all the Eagles you have every week. So, like, the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, the tight end, the kicker, it's usually good. Like, the offense is so fantastic, and the defense too. So, like, yeah, it's similar to that. And, like, Washington, on the upside, just think, no thanks. Like, I don't want to play their kicker. It's a terrible matchup. Their defense could get just absolutely housed. So, it's like, just avoid those guys.
Yeah, the tight ends, like, I don't really know who's going to play for the Commanders. It could be either at tight end. I think Logan Thomas is out, but you never know.
So there's a little note that said he's expected to return this Sunday. So if he plays, I'll play him just because he's been good in the past. But yeah, like, it could be what's his face, Cole Turner.
Okay, we will load up our next one here. This is the Bears and Broncos. Oh, sorry, wrong screen. That's not the Bears and Broncos graphic. Or is it? Is that the Bears and Broncos graphic? It might be. Oh, no, sorry. I clicked on the dumpster fire. My bad. That's not the Bears and Broncos graphic. You had to wonder why I was talking so much about a Commander's tight end that nobody cares about. That's because I was trying to set up my punchline there. Sorry, I'm having too much fun here. Bears and Broncos, you're going to hear a common theme here. Actually, who's the favorite in this fucking shit fest? Care to guess on the spread of this one?
It's probably like Chicago. Well, the Bears are home. Oh God, I'd say like 1.5 for Chicago.
No, Broncos by 3.5.
What? 3.5? Wow.
That says a lot. You get beat by 70 and you're a 3. You get beat by 70 and you're a 3.5 point favorite on the road the next week. That's what the NFL there. That's what Vegas thinks of the Bears. But
they hate
okay,
them. Wow.
So we're going to see a common theme, and it's going to start at quarterback, where they're probably the best of the options. Obviously, Fields has top 5 upside and a dumpster fire floor. Russell Wilson's probably a high-end QB too. I think both of them are terribly scary options. Having said that, if you roster them, you have to start them this week because these matchups don't get any better. And if they don't fucking come through, you have to drop both of these pieces of shit. Because if you can't come through in this fucking matchup, you're goddamn useless. Like, Jesse could go out and put up fucking 60 points on either of these defenses.
I mean,
Jesse,
sign me up. Let's go. Let's go.
Fantasy this
week.
You
can try. There might be some turnovers in there, but there will be some scoring. Let me tell you.
Well, there's going to be fucking turnovers in here anyway, so it's not just you. But so, what do you think here? You think either of them is?
Yeah, I'm playing both. I'm playing both. Like, you got it. Like, Russell's looked awful, but he's put up good points, so I expect it to be similar. I don't trust the defenses. And Fields, like, you got to roll him out there. I don't know who you're going to find on the waiver wire that's going to give you more upside than him this week. So, like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm playing both these guys in the matchup. It sounds awful to play them, but just play them.
You know what the funny part is? I'm looking at my chart here, and even after last week getting destroyed by the Dolphins, the Broncos are the second best matchup for quarterbacks. They allow 24.1 points to opposing quarterbacks. The Raiders still allow a point per game more to quarterbacks. How fucking bad are the Raiders?
Just
Good
terrible.
God.
And the Chargers suck too. Yeah, there's some bad defenses against quarterback.
The Bears allow the 5th worst. So, like I said, both of them you have to start them this week. I've had leagues where I picked up CJ Stroud and I was like, fuck, I'm going to start him over Fields or Russell Wilson. And it was Wilson. I looked and I said, oh, this matchup. I'm like, fuck it. I'm starting these guys. And if they miss, I'm just dropping them right after this. I'm done.
Yep.
Running backs are kind of a mess. I wish I could bring this. Can I bring this graphic up? That's what I should do. I'm going to take off. I don't normally do this. I don't normally get off of the actual show graphic, but I feel like I want to show you my article for my matchup guide here, just so you can see the gravity of how fucking nasty this is. That is the running back matchup. Look at this. The fucking Broncos allow 47.2. That's 15 points more per game than the next worst for the Bears. Okay.
Oh, man.
There's Roshan Johnson. There is Khalil Herbert, Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine. If you have all of them, at least find a way to get them into your flex. And if they can't come through, fucking drop them.
The top running backs, like running backs, everybody hates. Javante's not playing. Madison sucks. Pierce isn't doing anything. Najee. It's just like all the gross guys. It's like start all of this.
Yes. This is the point. Like I said, all of this entire top row, with the exception of Kenneth Walker, who's going to fucking crush this week. These top 5 guys, this is a very good point by Jesse. Fuck this game. These top 5 idiots, all fucking 5 of them, and their backups, Jalen Warren, whoever the fucking 9, Boone, Goomba Wale, blah, 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 Cam Akers, Madison, Javonte, Perine, Melvin Gordon, the Broncos called up. Whoever fucking is on Chicago. Any of these guys on these top 5 teams, if they don't produce a usable fantasy week this fucking week, drop the motherfuckers or trade them because they're useless. If you can't win in this matchup, God, you're terrible. Sorry. That's my rant. Never thought I'd get so fired up over a Broncos-Bears game, but I tweeted this earlier in the week that I never thought in a professional published fantasy football article for a legit website that I would use the word dumpster fire, but I found a way to use it this week when talking about this fucking matchup. It's so bad I didn't even hesitate. I just said dumpster fire.
It's a disaster. So, like, would it shock anyone just to see them suck? Like, that's kind of how it goes, right? Like, the situation's so good. You're like, oh, yeah, must plays, right? And then it just backfires.
No.
So, yeah, but you got to roll them out there. You got to roll
I went on a rampage there for a bit. Oh, yes. Yes, we do. Nicholas, feel free to type it in the chat. I just seen that. Sorry. Yeah, we do. If you have a trade question, feel free to type it in. Jesse, I see we still have 3 games. So after this one, if you want, you can bounce and I can finish the last 3. I know you're tight for time. So whenever you got to sign off, just let me know. I'm going to continue here, though. Yep. It doesn't get any worse here. DJ Moore, it's the 6th best matchup. Cortland Sutton or whoever the hell, Jerry Jeudy, Marvin Mims, pick your, this one's a little tougher. DJ Moore, if he doesn't smash, there's a fucking problem here. This is an easy matchup and he has no competition. The Broncos, it's probably a pretty good matchup. There's 3 of them, so it's a little tighter, but this is another situation like DJ Moore. If he doesn't produce here, you got to fucking trade him or something. What are your thoughts? Rank the 4 receivers, 1 Bear and 3 Broncos.
So Judy's like coming on stronger. His snap share and stuff went up. So like I want to be fully confident in how that's going to work out for him, but I'm going to go DJ Moore, and then I'm going to go Judy, and then I'm going to go Sutton. I'm curious to see how to rank those guys. And then, like, sure, you could fire up Mooney or Claypool if you want because the matchup, like, play those guys. But, man, I don't know. It's kind of gross. And then throw the dart on Mims. Like, can they please just fucking play Mims? Like, I don't know what they're doing. Running Brandon Johnson, like, twice as many routes. Like, I get it, Sean Payton. You're supposed to be a smart coach. Play them. Like, play Marvin Mims. Get him in the game. Like, they need it. But, yeah, that's my rant. So, yeah, we're moving on from that.
Here, it's a middle-of-the-pack matchup for Komet. Good matchup for Troutman. Troutman is, like, being projected for 15 points per game, and when I dropped him, someone picked him up. In the 2 games where he's had no Dulcich, he's put up a 0 in both. So, Komet, I think you can start Komet. I'm benching Troutman. I don't care. At kicker, Santos, it's a middle-of-the-pack matchup. If you got him, start him. Lutz, it's a good matchup. He looked terrible last week, though, so I don't know. If you got to start Lutz, go for it. Santos, if you got him, use him. I'm not going out of my way. The defense here.
I'd be surprised people have them rostered because they've been really bad this year. So, like, you could probably pick them up and play them.
The Broncos defense, if I've got them, they're a must-start this week. And they're a must-start where if you've already got them, you drafted them. If they can't be a top 3 defense this week, drop them for anyone. I don't care. The Bears, you're not playing them. So that pretty much concludes that.
I'm not playing either defense. They've been horrible. Just unavoiding.
Gross. Just absolutely disgusting. I don't know if Nick's still with us here or not. He didn't put in his question, so
yeah, we might have got too late.
Like I said, I'm going to keep rolling through the games. We've got 2 or 3 more, so you let me know when you got to roll.
Yeah, I got to do one more.
I am going to bring up Patriots at Cowboys next. Good God. A little slow today. We have Patriots at Cowboys. Cowboys by 6.5. This one scares me. Dak Prescott's turnover prone. Bill Belichick, I don't want to face his defense. So I think Dak is probably going to be a low-end QB1 this week. Mac Jones, probably a mid to high QB2. It's scary, but I don't think, just based on matchup alone, I don't think Dak and Mac are all that far apart this week.
No, that makes sense. The funny thing is last time Dak played Belichick, he shredded him for like 450 yards. Like it was similar to this situation. Like, oh yeah, don't play him this week. Like, you know, it was like 2021, so it was a while ago. But I like vividly remember that game where they went bonkers. They got behind and it was just a shootout. So like it's like sometimes that's how it goes in fantasy, right? But I'm not confident in either guy. Like I'm just gonna kind of just play them. You can, I mean, Mac not playing him, but you can play Dak and just, you know, the floor is a little bit lower this week.
If you've got either running back, Pollard, it's a mid-range matchup. You're starting him anyways. Zeke, you're leaving on your bench. Ramondre, it's a bad matchup, but you're probably, you know, if you drafted him to be your RB1 or RB2, so you just got to draft him and ride it out and hope the Pats can stay in this long enough to be able to use the run game. I mean, they have no passing game, so they don't really have much choice. It's going to be another Hunter Henry game. Thoughts here on either of these guys? Just start Pollard and Stevenson no matter what.
So it's a revenge game for Zeke. So, you know, they're probably going to try to get him into the end zone. Like they're trying to make that happen. So like you could go with that route if you really want to buy into the revenge game theory. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm not going to play him. But like his usage is interesting to say the least. Like he's seeing a sizable role in this offense. So I'm lower on Ramondre because of it. I just don't trust Ramondre right now. So
it's funny
he's like RB2.
It's funny that you brought that up, and like I made a mistake there and it didn't notice because it was in between teams. When I said Pollard and then transitioned to Zeke, I was still looking at the Cowboys. So in my head, Zeke was still on the Cowboys. But right. Because it was the Patriots who I transitioned to next, you didn't even notice. And then when you said, oh, Pollard, it's a revenge game, and I'm going, oh, fuck yeah, he's on the Patriots now. So I got lucky there, and I just happened to have the right opponent on the other side. You didn't even notice my mistakes.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, the wide receivers here. Well, CD Lamb's obvious must start. It's
fire
middle. It's a low end matchup, but it doesn't matter. You got to start him. Gallup and Cooks, I don't really want to do anything with. If I have to flex him, maybe. I think drop Cooks a lot. On the Patriots side of the ball, it's a bad matchup. Kendrick Bourne, I think I have as a flex in a few leagues where I'm decimated by injury. Like I have leagues where I had Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb. Like I've just killed, but I think Lamb's a start here, and everybody else on both teams is nothing more than a desperation flex.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I don't know how you could have confidence in playing anyone else besides Lamb. The interesting thing with Cooks is he saw more of what we expected, like his snap share and the routes. So, like, he's going to come on more, but I don't want to play him against the Patriots, man. The pass defense is good. So, like, yeah, it's Lamb. Like, just pay attention to how the snap share and routes work out after this game. Like, you might be more interested in playing Cooks after this week.
It is a bad matchup for both tight ends. Hunter Henry, it's the 24th best. If you got him and you have to play him because you're desperate, he's probably touchdown dependent. Jake Ferguson's looked good, and I have more hope for him, but this is the 4th worst. I don't ever want to play a tight end against Bill Belichick. He just kills them. So I think sit both if you can. If not, I guess you have to. For kicker, it's top 11 matchup for Aubrey on Dallas, so you can probably play him. He's been creeping up in my ranks, so he looks good. Ryland hasn't looked great. He's a decent kicker. I know he's young. 3rd worst matchup, so sit him. On DST here, I am not playing the Patriots against Dallas at all. I know most people likely drafted them, but I don't care. Cowboys, you can probably play here. So to summarize, Cowboys are probably a low-end defense 1. Patriots, you got to sit. You got to sit Ryland. You can play Aubrey, and I would sit both tight ends if you can. You got to go, Jesse.
Right there with you on that. Just all that makes sense. Like, yeah, I'm locked in with you. Yeah, I'm gonna head out.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Matt. I'm going to finish off the last 2 here. Thanks for joining me.
See
ya. All right. We are going to continue solo here. I've got 2 more games to bring up. We have the next one is the Seahawks at Giants in a pick'em. That's an interesting choice there. Both teams have kind of been a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde here, so that could explain it. 1 week they're good, 1 week they're bad. 1 week they look like playoff teams, 1 week they look like absolute shit. But so we'll breeze through it here since I'm riding solo. We've got Geno against Daniel Jones for the quarterback matchup here. To Geno, it's a middle of the pack matchup. And so you're probably starting him if you drafted him. He's a low end QB1 this week. Daniel Jones, it's a top 8 matchup. Seattle secondary is not great. So Daniel Jones, you can fire up safely and just hope that the good version of Daniel Jones and Geno shows up this week. Next up, we've got Ken Walker. This is a top 6 matchup. He is a smash here. I love him. He may be my RB 2 or 3 come week's end in rankings. Once I update them, I love it. Barkley, not sure if he's going to play. I think he's trending towards not. It's a top 10 matchup if he is in the lineup, though, so he is a must start. I expect him not to play, and the backups are a 3-headed monster of uselessness of Gary Brightwell, Matt Breida, and Eric Gray. Benching all 3 of them. Wide receivers, we are going with, where's the matchups here? DK Metcalf, number 13 matchup. I like DK. Lockett, I'm still flexing, even though they haven't been great. JSN's a stash for me. Not been great so far. Hasn't really gotten his opportunity, but you can't drop him. It is the second best matchup for the Giants, although it's a mess. So if you have a Giants receiver and you have to start him, I don't hate it. I like Darius Slayton probably the best, but Shepard, Hyatt, Wandell if he's back, Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, there's 100 of them here. If you have a guy on the Giants and you want to throw a dart, go for it. It's not the worst thing, but, you're playing Russian roulette. Just see if you land on the right one. Tight ends, it's the 14th best matchup for Noah Fant. I want no part of the Seattle tight ends. They seem to just, land on the hot hand between him and Parkinson and whoever the else. They got Disley there. I am out on them. I can't even find the Giants tight ends. Are they that bad that I can't? Oh, there we go. Darren Waller. It's a low-end matchup. If you got Darren Waller, you're still probably starting him regardless and just hoping that he finds his way. So we've got sit whatever Seattle tight end you have, if you have any. Probably got to start Waller. Just, expect a lower floor, but hope he finds his way. Kickers, Jason Myers has the 9th best matchup. I feel comfortable starting him. He's a pretty solid start. Graham Gano is probably top 5 this week. It's an easy matchup against the Seahawks. So if you have either kicker, fire them up confidently. DST, the Seahawks have been a tough matchup, 4th worst. So Giants have not looked good even against Arizona and Dallas. I think it was Dallas. Maybe not. Arizona anyway. So I would bench the Giants if you have them. In fact, I believe I sent them to waivers in quite a few leagues. On the other side, the Seahawks get the 2nd best matchup in the Giants, so they are probably a start if you got them. They should be a top 5 defense, unless the Giants miraculously find their way here. So that's how I see that mess. There's a lot of question marks there, a lot of guys you can play, but, they're so Jekyll and Hyde, you never know which team's going to show up and which guy you're going to get. So start them, but hesitantly. And to cap it off, we have the Chiefs at the Jets. Chiefs by 9.5 in this one. Obviously, you're starting Mahomes. He is a top 1. So at worst, he'll be 3. It's not a great matchup for him. I don't care. You're obviously playing him. You didn't need me to tell you that. On the other side, we've got Zach Wilson. It's a bad matchup. He's a bad quarterback. I am just going to leave him on my bench and probably my waiver wire. Nothing to see there. It is a bad matchup for the running backs on the Jets. Not to mention it's a 3 or 4-headed split between Hall, Abanikanda, Carter, and Dalvin. I don't want any of them. Hall, I guess, if you have to flex him out of desperation, would be my choice here. The Chiefs, it's a middle-of-the-pack matchup, but somehow all 3 Chiefs running backs were useful last week and all put up 13 or more fantasy points. Pacheco would be my obvious favorite due to the usage as probably a RB2, but I could see flexing CEH or McKinnon if you are desperate. At wide receiver, it's a bad matchup for the Chiefs. The Jets are a pretty good secondary. You could probably flex Rice, Sky Moore, MVS, Kadarius Toney. This is kind of like the Giants situation, except with a lower ceiling because it's a tougher defense. You got to throw a dart and hope you hit the right one. I don't like any of them, but desperate times, you got to do what you got to do. It's a really bad matchup for the Jets receivers. Garrett Wilson, I don't care. Still playing him. Everybody else on that team, not worth a start. Moving on to tight end, it is the third best matchup for Travis Kelce, which doesn't matter because Kelce's your tight end one anyways. He will be the tight end one in the rankings. If you got him, you are starting him. 20th best matchup for Tyler Conklin. He's not a total avoid, but I feel like unless you've really been hit by injuries, there's probably someone better to start. Having said that, I'm starting him in at least one league. Not a terrible option. He'd be lucky to finish 10 to 12 here this week, but it is what it is. The kickers. Butker has the best matchup. The Jets give up a ton of field goals and a ton of points. So Butker's a must start. You were starting him anyways. Zerline, it's a terrible matchup. Hopefully you don't have to start him. Fourth worst matchup against the Chiefs. I want no real part of it here. So play Butker, sit Zerline. The DST, I want no part of anyone playing the Chiefs. So as good as the Jets potentially could be, I want no part of them. They can sit. The Jets can't score, and Zach Wilson turns the ball over, so the Chiefs are the sixth best matchup. They're probably a top 5 or 6 defense for me, so they are a must-start this week. And that is how we are going to cap it off with the a bit abbreviated Week 4 preview here for NFC home games. We had Jesse had to take off for a prior engagement. So to wrap it up for myself and Jesse, who had to leave us, I'm Aaron, and this is Rat Pack Fantasy Football. This was our Week 4 preview for the NFC home games, including the Lions and Packers Thursday night game. Thank you all for watching. Take care and have a great day.